I have got a very cool pickup from LATTAFA Pride. This is one I was really excited to get in. There was craziness with the shipping. It got lost in the mail for a couple weeks. I finally got it though, and I am impressed, and it is really what I wanted. And you're gonna be shocked whenever I tell you the price of this. You'll probably also be shocked whenever I show you the actual fragrance. Some of you will, some of you won't. But this one, I'm telling you, this is something unique. This is something really cool in my opinion. And it is a way cheaper, less expensive alternative to a way more expensive fragrance that has become one of my recent favorites. So we're gonna get into this video about LATTAFA Pride Niche Emarati Al Jawhara. But before we do, remember to subscribe and give the like button a click if you like the video. Let's go ahead and begin. All right, so first of all, I bought this based, of course, on the picture that I saw online. I saw the box and I was expecting it to be small for a reason, but not quite this small. So this is what came in the mail whenever it finally arrived. This little box here, and whenever, of course, you pull out the little tab, you get this right here. It's a 20 ml. I did know that it's a 20 ml, and it comes with one of these little refillable travel atomizers, which I love these things. They're not great to keep something in long term. They will evaporate, but they're so easy to fill. You know, you just put it, you take off the actual sprayer off the atomizer, you put this thing right on top, and you just kind of pump it, and it will fill the atomizer. So those are cool. You know, I'll definitely get good use out of that. But the fragrance itself, Al Jawhara by Niche Emarati, LATTAFA Pride. Tiny little bottle here is actually an alternative to Scents of Wood Plum in Cognac. Now, that fragrance I do not own. I've never even smelled the original. However, I do have Dua's version of that fragrance, which is very highly reviewed, and what I've seen online, people say it's actually really good and really close to the original. Dua's is called Formula 006, and I mean, it's amazing. I have almost worn nothing else since I got it in. It's a plum fragrance with booziness and other things I'm going to tell you about. It's the kind of fragrance that I have just been locked into in recent months that I love everything about it. I want to tell you the notes, and then I want to tell you some of the standout, you know, great things about this cheapie, and some of the things that I'm not so thrilled about as well. So first of all, let me tell you this. The notes in Plum in Cognac. At the top, you've got plum, rum, cinnamon, Peru balsam. You've also got vanilla. This is actually not the top. It doesn't, on Fragrantica, it doesn't break down what's top, what's mid. But you've also got vanilla, labdanum, immortelle, vetiver, and osmanthus. And so what you get from this fragrance, the real standout is you get a very, very clear, distinct booziness in the opening. It's called Plum and Cognac, but it has a rum note. Go figure, you know. But you get this booziness, and it is different than a whiskey note or a cognac note. I guess it's a rum note, at least in the Dua anyway. But it's a very distinct booziness, very powerful, very realistic. And you get absolutely the plum, that being sort of the star of the show. Plum fragrances done right with some spice, maybe some booziness, some leather, some oud, whatever. It's just a lot of brands are starting to kind of pick up on this, and a lot of new fragrances are coming out with plum. It's an awesome note. It's wonderful. So anyway, you get the plum, absolutely. You get the booziness, absolutely, especially for the first hour or so, and you get that cinnamon. You get a very distinct spiciness, like a hot spiciness. You also have something though that is a little bit kind of leathery. I guess that would be probably from the osmanthus, you know, maybe even the vetiver, the labdanum. You know, these are all notes that can have you know, that sort of a feel even when they're used together in certain ways. So it almost smells like a boozy, plum, spicy, leathery fragrance. And then the vanilla does give it a good bit of sweetness. And so it is a sweet fragrance, but it is definitely a niche profile fragrance. There's a lot going on. It's not necessarily challenging, but it's boozy. It's got a little bit of, you know, leather-ish funkiness and some spice, and you know, it's really, really good stuff. Now, I've never smelled the original, but you can find out yourself with an easy Google search that a lot of people say the Dua dupe is actually a really good alternative to the original. But how does this one stack up? I got this little bottle right here for $17, including tax and shipping, off of eBay. And so that's a deal. I mean, you know, 20 ml. I have a lot of fragrances. I don't need 100 ml. And these giant gaudy bottles from niche Emarati, you know, I don't need it right now. I actually prefer this little thing, especially because I got it so cheap. So how does this compare to the Dua? Well, I'll tell you right away, the thing that is missing to my nose is that realistic booziness. That is very clearly in the opening. There is something missing, and there's something even about the booziness in the Dua that almost comes across, this is kind of weird, but almost like a, you know, peanuts kind of a smell with like a dark alcohol, like a rum or a cognac or something like that. The way that I found out about this fragrance, the LATTAFA, is down at the bottom of the Fragrantica page for Plum and Cognac. The #1 fragrance that people say, that one reminds me of this perfume, is this one, Niche Emarati Al Jawhara. And so that's why I picked it up. It was like 90% of the people voted for this smelling like Plum and Cognac, so I picked it up. But the notes that you have in this one are a little bit different. In the top, you've got Davana. Then you've got in the mid, plum, cinnamon, osmanthus. Then in the base, you've got labdanum, patchouli, musk, and ambroxan. And so there is a little bit of a different lineup, very, very similar, but obviously that rum or that cognac is distinctly missing. And so what I will say is that side by side, to me, there would be no mistaking these two fragrances. However, after about an hour of the Dua, and I would assume also the Sense of Wood fragrance, that booziness really dies down quite a bit, and you're left with that, you know, plum, spicy, kind of leathery, dark, textured, wonderful, certainly cool weather or evening leaning sweet fragrance. And after that alcohol note starts to dissipate, this is actually quite similar. I enjoy it in the same way that I enjoy the Dua. Now, I actually like the Dua more because I think that that rum note is very impressive, and something that I've noticed, especially the past few years as clones have gotten better and better and better, there are two notes or two accords that seem to be difficult to do on the cheap. One of them is iris. There are a few kind of fantasy iris fragrances that really nail that lipsticky iris, but a lot of alternatives to the big iris fragrances, they don't do a fantastic job with the note of iris whenever it's a cheapie, it's a clone, something like that. But another one is booziness. So many alternatives, cheaper alternative clones, you know, dupes, they don't nail a boozy note usually. There are a few actually that are very boozy that do it very well. Bentley for Men Intense, I think Spectre Wraith, French Avenue Spectre Wraith, an alternative to by Killian's Black Phantom. And so there are some that do it, but I'm not surprised that the booziness is missing from this one. But I just want to go ahead and tell you, if a spicy, rich, sweet, still fairly complex plum fragrance sounds good to you, obviously woody as well, then this is definitely one to pick up. Also, I'll try to find a link. If you can get this for under 20 bucks for this 20 ml, plus you get, I mean, these little travel sprays, you'll pay, you know, $6 or $7 for these by themselves, and they actually are very useful. And so, you know, I think it's a great package. I think it's a great deal. If you can get it that cheap, then I think it's a win. But I definitely wanted to let you know about this because, again, this is one, I kind of like everything about it. I like the little bottle. I'm weird like that. I like little things like that. I like that it was cheap. I like that it is going after a DNA that's not really being cloned yet. Hopefully that will change in the future. But I think it's a good alternative as long as you can deal with that booziness being missing. If you have tried this fragrance, let me know down below. Also, what are some of the other niche Emarati fragrances that I should try? I haven't actually tried any of them yet. I've watched some reviews and I've read online about some of them, and I'll probably pick more up. But what do you think? Have you tried any of them that you think are amazing? Or is there another Plum and Cognac dupe that I should pick up? Let me know your thoughts down below. Remember to subscribe and give the video a like if you liked it. I'm Justin. This is Sillage Scents.